All right, FFA, what's up, everybody? Good morning and welcome to this Monday morning kickoff call. We're going to talk about having a record week this week. So as we jump into this, I want to know what number would be your new record. All right, think back to every week you've been out there in the field or on the phones. What's that production record for you? Drop it in the WhatsApp chat. And then I'm going to give you guys the key to just unlocking that record week. I think back to the record week that I had been trying to run for 10K for so long. I always hovered around the $7,000 or $8,000 mark. And when I set my mind to it, I went out and hit a $14,000 week. And that was one of the biggest weeks I've ever had. And I was thinking back to that week. This was probably a year into the business. And I was thinking back to what led into that week. And so I'm going to give you guys the key because believe it or not, it's a lot simpler than it seems. It's a lot easier to have a record week than it actually seems. So there's going to be a key to unlock on today's call that we're going to go over. But before we jump into that, hey, shout out to you guys for absolutely crushing it last week. The top 10 coming in hot for last week, week 2 of the year. All right. You guys are setting your names up to be in the running for Agent of the Year 2025. So way to start off the year strong. Coming in the top 10, we had Allison doing big things like always. We had Willie. Shout out to Willie. He's in his first couple months, putting his name up there in the top 10. I know he's going to have a huge rookie year this year here in 2025. So nice work to you, Willie. Big shout out to Jenna. Like always, Jenna just needs a placeholder in the top 10. She just needs to always have her name locked in there because she's there every single week. Nice work to her. Big shout out to Stephanie, finding herself in the top 10, even amongst a snowstorm. All right. She got snowed in up there in Delaware and still found a way to hit the top 10. So nice work to you, Stephanie. Big shout out to Justin Pavoni for having a huge week, coming in at like $6,000 something, putting himself in the top 10. Big shout out to Kelly having a huge week. Kelly has been on fire here lately over the past few weeks. She put up a huge month in December. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet because we've not sent out the production numbers for last month, but they're coming your way here in the next day or two. We are just waiting on Life Shield's report, and then we will get those sent out to you guys and announce the Cancun qualifiers. But big shout out to Kelly because she had a huge month last month, and she's kicking off this year just right in line, finding herself in the top 10 here week 2 again. So nice work to her. Big shout out to Sylvia. Hey, me and Sylvia did a coaching call a week or 2 ago, and I was blown away at what her goals were and what she wanted to run for this year. And look at the number that she put up last week with a huge week, over 6K for her. So nice work to you, Sylvia. Way to track down those goals. Big shout out to Aaron. Aaron's running off of a huge year in 2024. And here she is, 2025, keeping her name right at the top like always. Big shout out to Ray, having a huge week. He just, every single week, I think he went over 12 applications on the week, which is phenomenal. So nice work to him. And then let's give Rebecca a huge shout out. She took home Agent of the Week last week. Just absolutely blown by everybody. So she even beat her husband, Justin. Justin had a huge week. She was like, nope, not taking this one from me, as she took home Agent of the Week. So Rebecca, super proud of you for putting your name at the top of the chart last week and taking home that prize. So nice work to you guys. Top 10, everybody as a whole. What an awesome start to this year. I wish I could give everybody a shout out on this call, but you guys have come out of the gate strong here in 2025 and could not be more excited to see where we are headed to this year. So nice work to you guys. Jumping into, all right, this week, here's the verse of the day. Now check it out. This is one of my favorite verses because it sums up what I think religion actually means. All right. So I know sometimes when you think of church, you think of religion, you think of all that, right? You think, it's like authority, right? It's like a boss that you have to answer to, or you have to be qualified. All right. Or it's just a set of rules, right? It's like looked like it's a very strict thing. And that's actually that exact opposite, all right, of what it is. So here's one of my favorite verses. It says, neither height nor depth nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. That's the verse of this week. And I shared that one with you guys because it does not matter, right? Nothing matters, basically. Nothing can separate you from the love that he has for you. Think if you have kids, think about what your kids do, right? Like just, yesterday, all right, my kids were probably running around, hitting me, throwing cars at me, right? Doing whatever, getting in all kinds of trouble. And at the end of the day, hey, I love them just like nothing ever happened. That's what Jesus has in store for you, right? And so I would encourage you, I'd invite you, if you've never looked at him that way, like an actual parent type figure, right? Not like authority, but actual parent. If you've never looked at him that way, I'd invite you to try to explore that this year. Again, believe whatever you want to believe, but I would invite you to do that because it's amazing what happens in your life when you just actually allow his love to impact you throughout the week and throughout the year and just throughout your day. So if you've never been invited to do that before, here's the invitation to you. All right. That love is unconditional. You don't have to do anything to earn it. All right. He's waiting for you, right? He's got it for you. So that's a verse going into this week. Holiday party. All right. 2/8. All right. We had to reschedule it. Hopefully the snow will not come back in February, but it is 2/8. Here's a funny screenshot. The one in the middle there, I think that's Taylor Wade. Yep, that's T Wade. She ate up the selfie stick, all right, or the selfie camera, whatever that thing was that we had at the party last year. It's coming back this year. So if you guys like the photo booth option, I know so many of you had fun with that. That's going to be back. University Club Tower on the 17th floor overlooking all of Raleigh and Durham. All right, February 8th. So hopefully that gives you guys enough time to rebook that traveling after that storm we got last week. So 2/8, mark your calendars. Hopefully, hey, that should allow a lot of people to come. I know some people had other things going on in the month of January with holidays and stuff. So it's going to be a fun party. Make sure you make some time for it. And if you need any more details, reach out to Alicia for the holiday party. Let's talk about today's call. Okay. The key to a record week. All right. Drop. What number would it be for you? Okay. What number would your record week be? What do you got to hit this week to have the biggest week of your career? For some of you, maybe it's 5K, maybe it's 10, 15, 20. What is the number, all right, that you would have to hit to have a record week this week? This is the key, guys, to being able to do it. All right. So what's number one? Number one is you got to set the target, right? You got to know what you're running for. You got to know what you want to hit. There's a saying that I always like. It's aim small, miss small. Okay. So if you're looking at a huge target and you don't know where to aim on that thing, you might hit it here. You might hit it there. You might miss it altogether. But if you're aiming for the bullseye, okay, look at that arrow on that screen. Chances are you're going to hit around the bullseye. You might not hit right in the middle, but you're going to hit kind of close to it. You're going to at least get on the board. All right. But if you didn't have those lines inside that target and it was just a blank piece of paper, who knows, right? You don't know what you're aiming at, so you can't hit it. So identify what that target is for you this week. All right. And don't give yourself any excuses as to why you can't hit it. I know when I said, hey, it's time for a record week, some of you are like, well, I got this going on. I got that going on. Check it out. You are one house or one call away from a record week. That's all you are. You're one contact. Okay. You are one contact away. You've got agency builders. You're one new hire away from having a record year this year as an agency, right? So aim small, miss small, set your target and drop it in the WhatsApp chat for me. Number two, let's talk about expectations. Guys, expectations are huge. As you're running for a record week, what should your expectations be? Okay, number one, guys, check it out. Everybody's not your client. Everybody is not your customer. You need to get very good at realizing that. Okay. You're going to get told no more this week than you have ever been told no before if you want to have a record week. All right. The week that I hit 14 and something K, all right, I think I did like 30 presentations, got told no in like 10 of them, right? I had never got half the time. I only did 10 presentations in a week. When I did 30 in a week and got told no 10 times, I got told no more than I'm used to presenting as I was running towards a record week, right? So you're going to get told no more this week than any other week ever, right? Michael Jordan has the most game-winning shots in NBA history. He's also got the most game-winning misses. Okay, Babe Ruth, when he set the home run record, that same year, he also set the record for the most strikeouts in MLB history. All right, so that's crazy to think about, right? This business is no different. So what's your expectations going into this week? Go out there being ready to get told no a lot. All right, the more you get told no, the more you're going to get told yes, the higher likelihood you are of hitting that target for this week. Okay, emotions. All right, don't let yourself be like these emojis on this screen right now as you go out there this week. Okay, you got to be like the green one. All right, no matter what happens out there, no matter if they slam the door in your face, if they hang up the phone on you, all right, whatever the case is, you can't let your emotion dictate your activity in this business, or you won't be in this business very long. So if you're wanting to run to a record week, your emotion has to basically be like the little blue guy on the screen or the green guy, right? Not too up, not too low, just even keeled. No matter what, you can't be wavered, right? You got to have that foundation as you go to have a record week this week. Just be steady, right, guys? Emotion in sales is the worst thing for you as a producer that you can do. All right. It doesn't, you guys heard Christy say it on the call last week. It doesn't matter how you feel. You need to do it anyway. All right. And so if you're running towards a record week, you can't be all up in your feels, right? You can't be up and down, all around, sad, happy, 1 minute's great, 1 minute's awful. You got to get rid of all that. All right, guys, this is the business. This is what we do. This is who we go to see. This is what my week's going to look like. Just be steady. All right. If you can be steady, if you can keep your emotions in check this week, you're going to have a record week. Now, it's going to be tough because you're going to be running extra hard this week. Okay. You're going to be putting in more activity than you're normally used to as you run towards a record week. You're going to be getting told no more, right? So it's very easy to let your emotions jump up and down, but don't let your highs be too high and don't let your lows be too low. Just be steady. All right. That's all you got to do. Be steady and everything always works itself out. Okay. Next up, running towards a record week, we got to assume, okay, you have to assume your record week is going to happen. All right. You have to assume when you're sitting down with your clients or you're on the phone with them that you're going to close the deal. Okay. You're going to get to the end of it. What's the definition of assumption? Okay. Check it out. It says a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. Assumption's a lot like faith, if you think about it. All right. It's accepted as true or certain to happen without any proof that it's actually going to happen. You have to have that faith. You have to have that assumption, all right, to be able to go out there and make it happen for yourself without proof. You have to know that if you show up for yourself, you're going to get the result. I got so many agents might not show up for themselves because they think they're not going to get the result. Well, guess what? If you don't show up, you're definitely not going to get it, right? It's a lot like fishing. If you don't throw the rod or the reel, right, the line into the water, you're never going to catch a fish, all right? You got the ocean right out there. If I want to catch a fish, I can't catch it sitting in this house through this window, right? I got to go out there, throw the line out there, all right, and just have the faith that it's going to happen. Your record week is the same way, okay? You have to have assumption. Assumption is what separates the top agents from the agents who struggle, right? The agents that roll up to the door and they know they're getting in that door, right? I think of like Savannah. I don't think Savannah's ever been told no at a door. I might be wrong, Savannah. You can correct me in the chat, but I don't know if Savannah, Alicia, I know Julie Flincham's definitely never been told no at a door, but it's just their assumption, right? They're just getting into these things. All right. They're getting into it and assuming their way in. When they close deals, when a top agent closes a deal, they're assuming they're closing it the minute they sit down to talk with that person. They're not doubting the process or their setup or their presentation, right? They're assuming their way through the entire thing. So what does your level of assumption look like? Okay. I can promise you, I could look at your numbers, your level of assumption, and if it's higher or lower, your numbers are higher or lower. Okay. Don't wait for things to happen. You have to assume them. All right. Again, a thing that is accepted as true or certain to happen without proof. Go into this week with that assumption, and you're going to have a record week. All right. Non-negotiable activity. This is like one of my favorite ones. Guys, it doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's snowing, if I've got the sniffles. It doesn't matter. I will hit the activity goal that I set for myself every single week. And when I'm running for a record week, okay, that week that I ran to 14K, I had a non-negotiable target of hitting at least 25 presentations that week. Did not matter. I went out on Saturday morning for like another 3 hours in order to hit that because I was a little bit shy. I think I run into Saturday with like 22. Okay, so opportunities don't happen. You have to create them. Okay, guys, you have to be a hunter. Okay, you can't be a gatherer. Nothing's coming to you. Okay, you have to go out and track it down. You got to hunt that AP. You got to hunt that production. So what's your non-negotiable activity? Check it out. You cannot control a lot of things in this business, right? You can't control your client's attitude. You can't control your lead's mood for the day. You can't control if your lead's at home or not. You can't control how much money they want to pay per month for their insurance or how much coverage. You can't control their health. But the one thing that you can control is your activity. You can control how many leads you have. You can control how many presentations you're given every single day. That is the one thing that you actually can control. And if you can control it, you're going to create opportunities. All right. But non-negotiable activity. Don't say, hey, I'm going to do 15 presentations this week and finish the week at 7, right? Why? Like what happened, right? So if you're running towards a record week, non-negotiable activity is what you need. All right. No matter what, create that opportunity. All right. And then lastly, all right, before we wrap up today's call and we go crush this week, surplus versus scarcity mindsets. Okay, guys, if you're an agent who is thinking, as I'm talking on this call, and you're thinking about all these reasons as to why you can't have a record week or why that's not going to happen or why you can't hit 15 presentations in a week or whatever it is, you're being scarcity minded. And that's all you're ever going to get out of life. All right. If that's how you think, you have to be surplus minded. All right. Don't run to pay your bills, right? Run to put extra money in your account at the end of the week. Okay, guys, this is not a career opportunity where it's like, let me just do enough to make it by. No, this is an opportunity where you can have more prosperity, more financial freedom, more lifestyle freedom, right? Set your own schedule than any other opportunity out there, but you have to be surplus driven, right? Like you have to want more than just enough. All right. You have to be understanding and believing that you're actually worthy to have that surplus, right, guys? You can't give anything away when you don't have anything. All right. And I think God put us in this career and this opportunity to be able to have surplus, to be able to bless other people back with it. All right. Think about the clients you sit with. Guys, every person you sit with, you are potentially leaving their family tens of thousands of dollars that they have never had before. Okay. I tried last year. It was too difficult, right? The carriers, they didn't all report it on the production reporting, but I tried to track what the face amount was that we sold as an agency. And it was just insane. right? Hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars are generated each year by you guys. That's going to a beneficiary. All right. It's hard to track it. I really try, but a lot of the carriers wouldn't have it on their report. But just from what I could see, you guys made such an impact, right? You made such a difference in so many families' lives last year of what is coming to them, right? At some point in time, unfortunately, their loved one is going to pass away. All right. That's the only thing we're really kind of guaranteed in this life is at some point in time, this life is going to end. All right. Move on to eternal life. But life as you know it here is not forever. So at some point in time, that beneficiary is getting that surplus of money that you created by going out there, by calling them, by going through the ringer, right? By getting told no a bunch of times. You're making such a huge difference. All right, guys, if you think you're just out there to make a paycheck, yes, all right, that's part of this. But ultimately, think about the lives that you're impacting. Think about the roofs that you're keeping over people's heads if their loved one passes away. All right, like you might not really understand this if you're a new agent until you get your first death claim. All right, but once you see the impact that check to that family makes at the worst time of their life, you will look at this business so much differently, right? It was around the time I had a record week. All right, that $14,000 week was around the time I actually got my first death claim. All right, a husband passed away. The wife got $10,000. All right, the $10,000 is literally the only thing that allowed her to continue to live in her house at that time, right? Because the husband was ultimately the breadwinner in that. So, and when people are on Social Security, they lose one of those paychecks. They only get whichever one was more. So when I saw that, I thought about how every single week that I'm not running towards a record week, I'm not just hurting myself, I'm hurting all of the people that I'm not helping because I'm being lazy, right? And that created a drive in me to be able to go out there and have that record week, to be able to realize there's so many people that do need like legit help with their insurance. And it's our job to get out there and get after it. During COVID, when the entire world was shut down, insurance agents were deemed essential workers. I continued to go door to door like nothing ever happened during COVID because it was the most important time that people were looking for help with insurance, right? Guys, you're very important out there. And which one will you be? Are you going to be surplus driven or are you going to be stuck in a scarcity mindset forever? All right. Some of you right now, you're running so hard, you're already surplus driven. But some of us, if we're honest with ourselves, have lived in a scarcity mindset forever. And it's tough to break that chain. But the way you break it is to realize you're worthy of more than just getting by, right? And now to do that, you got to put the work in, ignore the emotion, ignore the excuses, and you're going to live a life of surplus, but you got to run for it. So that's all I got for you guys on today's call. All right, it's Monday. Let's go have a huge week out there. Shout out to everybody that is setting a new goal in WhatsApp for production for a record week. Let's go run hard this week, guys, and we will be back here on Wednesday.